anti-Soviet resistance might have led to the creation of organizations like Al-Qaeda. But talk for a minute about how Osama bin Laden steps into this void, right?
He had been a volunteer during the 1980s, a wealthy young Saudi who kind of went to Afghanistan initially as if it were a sort of summer camp expedition, got more and more involved, stayed longer and longer, and began funding a couple of the factions of the rebels. He participated in the effort to overthrow the government after the Soviet troops left, but became frustrated by the civil war. And when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait and threatened Saudi Arabia in August of 1990, he decided to go home. So he went home and got involved in Saudi politics, became a rebel within Saudi Arabia, was eventually thrown out of the kingdom, and moved to Sudan. He was a member of a very wealthy construction family in Saudi Arabia, so he had resources. He'd also learned to fundraise for Islamist causes. In Khartoum, he operated and gave birth to what we now understand to be Al-Qaeda. Eventually, in 1996, the U.S. put enough pressure on the Khartoum government that they told him he had to leave. And there was really no place for him to go. The Saudis had stripped him of his passport. He essentially, at that point, went up a mountainside there in eastern Afghanistan and wrote out what became later a notorious declaration of war against the United States. And that started his kind of US-directed terrorism campaign that lasted through the late 90s and led ultimately to 9/11.